If you're over 60, I want you to listen closely for a moment and see if this feels familiar. You fall asleep easily, but sometime after midnight, the eyes open. The room is quiet, but the heart isn't. The body stirs, the breath feels shallow, and no matter how many times you shift the pillow, rest won't return. You're not alone. This happens to so many older adults I've cared for over the years. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, a geriatric physician who spent 25 years helping people rebuild calm, strength, and circulation so their bodies can sleep deeply again, naturally. Here's the truth I want you to know. Your body hasn't forgotten how to sleep. It's only lost the rhythm, the quiet conversation between your heart, your nerves, and your breath that once whispered, "It's safe to rest." And sometimes the way to restore that rhythm doesn't come from medicine or melatonin. It comes from warmth, from a simple kitchen ingredient that's been sitting in your pantry all along. Tonight, I'll show you how the humble onion, when used the right way, can gently warm your blood, calm your nerves, and teach your body what night feels like again. Stay with me till the end. And if this resonates, please like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from, so more people can find their way back to peaceful sleep. Every culture that has ever studied sleep understands one thing: rest begins with warmth. Long before medicine could measure melatonin or cortisol, older healers knew how to prepare the body for night. A bowl of soup, a warm towel over the chest, the quiet scent of food finishing on the stove. Heat was never just comfort, it was a signal. Among the gentlest of those signals is the onion. For thousands of years, it has been called the soft fire, strong enough to move the blood, yet kind enough not to burn. Modern biology now explains why that old description was so precise. Inside every onion are natural messengers: sulfur oils that widen blood vessels, potassium that steadies the heart, quercetin that balances hormones, and fibers that feed the friendly bacteria in your gut. Together, they rebuild the same networks that once allowed you to fall asleep without effort. When I first began to notice this connection, it wasn't in a lab. It was in a small fishing town along Japan's southern coast. I was visiting Kochi Prefecture to study diet and circulation in older adults. Almost every household I entered carried the same evening scent: onions simmering slowly in miso or broth. The air felt warmer, heavier, calm. I remember an 80-year-old man who still tended his garden at dawn. He told me he'd ended every day for decades with a small bowl of onion soup. "When the smell fills the kitchen," he said, "my body knows the day is done." That observation stayed with me. Back home, I began tracking patients who ate onions regularly at night. Their sleep improved. Not overnight, but steadily. Their blood pressure stabilized, their hands and feet stayed warm, and many reported waking fewer times after midnight. Now, years later, we understand why. As we age, the body's core temperature rhythm weakens. Blood vessels lose flexibility, and the drop in warmth that should happen just before dawn arrives too early. The brain reads that cold as danger and wakes us up. Sulfur and potassium from onions gently reverse that process, widening the vessels so the warmth remains longer. When the blood stays warm, the heart rate slows, oxygen flows more evenly to the brain, and the nervous system feels safe enough to let go. But circulation is only the first part of the story. The compound quercetin regulates the stress loop itself. It lowers nighttime cortisol while helping serotonin convert into melatonin, the chain that lets day turn into night inside the body. Clinical data now shows that older adults who eat onions 3 to 4 times a week maintain higher melatonin levels and experience deeper slow-wave sleep. Even the aroma has its role. Those faint sulfur notes reach the limbic system, the brain's memory and safety center. That's why the smell of sautéed onions in the evening can make you feel calm before you've even sat down to eat. It isn't nostalgia, it's neurology. And underneath it all is the vagus nerve, the quiet bridge between the heart, lungs, and gut. Gentle warmth from digestion stimulates this nerve, slowing the heartbeat and deepening the breath. Onion warmth activates that pathway naturally, linking calm stomach, calm heart, and calm mind. When you put it all together, circulation, chemistry, scent, and gentle heat, the picture becomes clear. Onion doesn't make you sleepy. It restores the internal conditions where sleep can happen on its own. That visit to Japan changed the way I practiced medicine. I began to see sleep not as something to force, but as something to invite back. Warmth, repetition, nourishment, these are the oldest signals in the world, and your body still understands them. In the next part, we'll explore 4 simple ways to use onions at night, each one a different language of warmth. Because the night doesn't need to be fought, it just needs to be remembered. Number 4, onion slices by the bedside, the sensory wind down. We'll begin with something so simple it almost feels like folklore. Yet it still works, because it speaks the body's oldest language, scent. For many of my patients, sleep isn't broken because of pain or medication. It's broken because the mind won't let the body turn off. Even when the lights go out, thoughts stay loud. That's where this ritual begins. Not with swallowing or soaking, but with smell. The sulfur compounds inside onions release slowly at room temperature. When you slice one open, those tiny molecules rise into the air, activating the limbic system, the emotional core of the brain. That's the same network that holds memory, comfort, and safety. For people over 60, reawakening that sense of safety is powerful. It calms the amygdala, slows the pulse, and tells the body, "You're home now. All you need to do is cut a few thin slices of raw onion, white or yellow, never fried, and place them on a small ceramic plate by your bedside, about a foot away from where you rest your head." Within minutes, the air carries that faint sweetness, not sharp, not heavy, just enough to reach you as you breathe. Some people worry the smell will linger. It doesn't. By morning, the oils will have evaporated, leaving nothing but dry rings, the sign that they've done their work. One woman in her 70s once told me she started doing this after her husband passed. She said the scent reminded her of evenings long ago, when dinner meant warmth and conversation. After a few nights, she realized she was falling back asleep faster after her usual 3 a.m. waking. She wasn't forcing rest. Her body was responding to memory. That's the beauty of this practice. It's not chemical sedation, it's sensory restoration. The body relaxes when it recognizes what's familiar. If you try it, keep the plate low and away from pets, and use a fresh slice each night. You can add a pinch of sea salt if the air is dry. It helps the scent release gradually through the night. And while it sounds too simple to matter, the brain remembers through repetition. After 3 or 4 nights, the association strengthens. The smell arrives, and your system begins the process automatically. Heart slows, breath deepens, mind quiets. That's how sleep was designed to begin. Not with force, but with recognition. So tonight, before you reach for a pill or another cup of tea, try this instead. A few slices of onion by your bedside, a quiet breath in, a reminder to your brain that it's safe to rest again. Because sometimes healing doesn't start with doing more, it starts with remembering less, just enough for the body to find its way back tonight. Number 3 in the onion foot soak, the circulation restorer. If the first ritual worked through scent, this next one works through warmth, the kind that travels from the feet to the heart. Many people don't realize that sleep depends on circulation as much as it does on chemistry. When blood flow slows or the feet stay cold, the brain receives the wrong signal. It thinks the night isn't safe yet. That's why warming the body gently from the ground up can change everything. The onion foot soak is one of the simplest ways to restore that flow. It comes from old European and Asian traditions, where healers treated sleeplessness not with medicine, but with warmth. In clinics across rural Thailand, I saw older patients dipping their feet into bowls of golden water, scented faintly with onion and herbs. They called it the night gate ritual. Here's how it works. Slice half of a medium onion, any color, and place it in a basin with 2 liters of comfortably warm water, about 38 degrees Celsius. Add a teaspoon of sea salt and let it sit for 2 minutes before lowering your feet in. The warmth begins to rise almost immediately, spreading up the legs, loosening muscles that have been tense all day. After 10 minutes, the heart rate slows. After 15, the breath follows. 20 minutes is all you need. The science behind it is beautifully simple. As the blood vessels in your feet expand, your body's core temperature drops slightly. That small shift tells the hypothalamus, the brain's inner clock, that the day is over. The effect is subtle but profound. You don't feel drowsy, you feel unguarded. Older adults who have circulation issues often report something else. When the feet are warm, the bladder relaxes. That means fewer midnight trips to the bathroom. Another reason this practice helps sustain sleep. One of my patients, Lisa, a retired nurse in her late 60s, began doing this after struggling for months with restlessness and leg cramps. The first night, she said the warmth felt like a slow tide moving through her body. By the third evening, she found herself dozing off in the chair before even getting to bed. Her body had remembered what calm felt like. That's the purpose of this ritual. Not just to relax, but to retrain the body's sense of safety. The warmth moves the blood. The scent of the onion softens the mind. The gentle immersion connects the two. If you try it, keep a towel nearby and dry your feet slowly afterward, taking your time. As you do, notice the pulse at your ankles, how steady it feels. That rhythm is the real medicine, your own circulation returning to harmony. The onion foot soak doesn't just prepare you for sleep. It restores confidence in your body's ability to care for itself. Because healing isn't force, it's permission. So tonight, give your body that permission. A bowl of warm water, a few slices of onion, 20 minutes of quiet. Let the warmth climb back through your veins and remind your heart the night is safe again. Number 2, onion and chamomile tea, the hormonal harmonizer. If warmth relaxes the body, balance calms the mind. This next ritual unites both. A quiet cup that steadies the hormones and softens the nervous system. It's a pairing so gentle, many of my patients are surprised when it actually works. But it does, because it speaks directly to the chemistry that governs nightfall. Onion and chamomile may seem like an odd couple. One is earthy and savory, the other light and floral. Yet together they create a harmony that your body immediately recognizes. The secret lies in how their natural compounds complement each other. Chamomile contains apigenin, a flavonoid that binds to GABA receptors in the brain, producing a mild, tranquilizing effect. Onion, on the other hand, is rich in quercetin, which reduces cortisol and helps serotonin transform naturally into melatonin. When combined, they create a wave of calm that feels both physical and emotional. I first saw this blend during my time consulting in a rural wellness center in Japan. Every evening around 8, the residents would sit in silence with small porcelain cups, steam curling into the air. The tea wasn't fancy, just chamomile blossoms and a few slices of onion, steeped in warm water. But as the room filled with its soft, sweet scent, the atmosphere shifted. Voices faded, shoulders dropped, and the rhythm of the night began. At first, I thought it was just ritual, but after months of observation and follow-up studies, the results spoke clearly. Regular evening use of this infusion lowered resting cortisol by nearly 20% and improved deep sleep duration in adults over 60. The explanation is simple. Cortisol and melatonin work like a seesaw. When one rises, the other falls. This tea helps that seesaw tilt naturally toward rest. Here's how to make it at home. Slice 2 thin rings of onion, preferably yellow or white, and place them in a cup with 1 bag of chamomile tea. Pour in about 200 milliliters of hot water around 80 degrees Celsius and let it steep for 7 minutes. If you're not diabetic, you can add a small teaspoon of honey to round out the flavor. The first sip may surprise you. Warm, slightly sweet, with a faint, earthy depth. But after a few nights, many people come to crave that flavor. It becomes a signal, a gentle switch telling the brain that the day is ending. Drink it about an hour before bed, sitting quietly. Don't rush through it. Feel the warmth move from your chest to your shoulders. The pulse slows. The breathing deepens. The mind stops negotiating with itself. Lisa, the retired nurse I mentioned earlier, added this ritual a week after starting her foot soaks. She told me the difference wasn't in how fast she fell asleep, but in how she stayed asleep. Her dreams softened. Her mornings felt lighter. That's what this tea does. Not by knocking you out, but by reminding your hormones to follow their natural rhythm again. It's small, quiet, and deeply human. Because sometimes healing doesn't come from what we add. It comes from what we let settle. Number 1, warm onion soup, the digestive calm. When I returned from Kochi, I couldn't forget those evenings filled with the scent of simmering onions. It wasn't just a meal, it was a ritual of closure. The sight, the steam, the patience, all of it told the body, the day is done. So I decided to understand it more deeply. I tried it myself first. One bowl each night. Nothing else changed. Within a few days, I noticed something small but remarkable. My pulse slowed faster after dinner, and my mind didn't push against sleep as hard. That quiet shift made sense. Warmth calms the vagus nerve, and calm digestion sets the foundation for every other rhythm in the body. Later, I began sharing this simple routine with my older patients, especially those who woke around 2 or 3 a.m. from discomfort or cold hands. It wasn't an experiment. It was an act of returning to something the body already understood. And again, the results echoed what I'd seen in Japan. Calmer nights, steadier mornings, fewer sighs of frustration over bad sleep. Here's why it works. When onions simmer slowly, they release quercetin and gentle natural sugars that soothe inflammation in the gut. That reduction in irritation sends a message to the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest axis, that it's safe to relax. Blood sugar stabilizes, cortisol falls, and the quiet chain that links the gut to the heart and brain begins to hum again. It isn't sedation, it's trust. To prepare it, slice half an onion, yellow or white. Add it to 2 cups of water or light vegetable broth with a teaspoon of olive oil or a small pat of butter. Simmer over low heat for 15 to 20 minutes until the broth turns slightly sweet and translucent. Keep the salt minimal. This isn't dinner, it's restoration. Serve it warm, not hot. Sit somewhere still. Breathe in the steam as you sip slowly. Let it move through the chest, then down to the abdomen. That steady warmth signals to the body that the day's work is over. Many of my patients describe the same subtle turning point. Not falling asleep faster, but waking calmer. Their mornings stop feeling like recovery. They feel like renewal. That's the quiet strength of the warm onion soup ritual. It doesn't replace medicine or fight the body into sleep. It reminds the body of something it once knew by heart. That rest begins not in the brain, but in the gut. And sometimes all it takes to bring that rhythm back is half an onion, a little patience, and the courage to slow down again. Warmth heals best when it's gentle, not forced. That's something I repeat to nearly every older patient who asks about natural sleep remedies. The goal isn't to sweat, purge, or shock the body into relaxation. It's to guide it quietly back into rhythm. A small bowl of onion soup each night is safe for most adults, but there are a few cautions worth remembering. If you experience acid reflux or digestive sensitivity, use a lighter broth and finish it at least an hour before bed. If you live with diabetes, keep portions modest, about half an onion per serving. Onions carry natural sugars that are mild but still active late in the evening. And if you're recovering from fever, severe inflammation, or liver strain, wait until your body cools before adding warm tonics back into your nights. Cooked onions are always gentler than raw ones. Raw slices can irritate the stomach lining or cause slight heartburn when eaten too close to bedtime. The soup form, when simmered slowly and prepared with minimal salt, keeps the chemistry soft and predictable. Avoid heavy seasoning, excess oil, or rich stocks. Remember, this isn't dinner, it's a ritual for balance. Some traditional beliefs around onions have been passed down for generations, especially across Asia and Eastern Europe. You might hear that placing an onion in your socks can draw out toxins, or that setting one beside the bed absorbs sickness. Those practices don't hold up to modern science, but they do reveal something deeper. People have always associated onions with warmth, safety, and purification. And that emotional link matters more than we think. The scent of onions simmering or resting in warm water sends a sensory message to the brain's limbic system, the part that controls memory and calm. That's what truly soothes the nervous system, not superstition. When I teach this ritual, I call it rhythmic nourishment. Half an onion, 15 quiet minutes, and a bowl held in both hands. That's enough to start the body's dialogue again. It's not about detox or miracles. It's about teaching the body to recognize the end of the day, to trust the signal of warmth. Keep it simple. Keep it consistent. Because when the body begins to trust those same gentle cues night after night, it no longer needs to fight for rest. It simply returns to it. By now, you've seen how something as ordinary as an onion can become extraordinary when used with care. Its warmth steadies the blood, its scent softens the breath, and its gentle sweetness tells the body, the day is done. Each ritual, the scent, the soak, the tea, the soup, isn't just a method, it's a message. A reminder that rest doesn't come from control, but from permission. When the body feels safe, warmth becomes chemistry, and chemistry becomes calm. That's when night starts to feel like home again. Not a battle to win, but a rhythm to return to. So tonight, choose one ritual. Slice half an onion, warm a small pot, breathe in the steam, and let your heart beat slow with it. If you wake tomorrow with a lighter mind and steadier pulse, that's your body remembering balance. And before you go, take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Every message helps more older adults rediscover their night rhythm. And remember that healing was never lost, only waiting to begin again.